Okay, so here's a quick video. Like I said, this second video for the night class, and also the Thursday video for the day class. I just want to put up some quick problems of still subtracting, but now we're going to put some decimals in there, and nothing changes from subtracting without decimals, meaning you still line it up. You still do the borrowing. You still, if zeros are involved, those rules still apply. It's just making sure you line it up by the decimals correctly. So I'm going to put some examples up there. And I'm going to write them side by side because that's part of practicing making sure you line them up correctly. So just like you did in addition, you're going to line up the decimals and then subtract from there. That's why this is going to be a short video, because basically it's nothing new from the subtraction. You just practice more subtraction of your rules. So just line it up, line up the decimals, and then you're treating the decimal like it's not there. You're still subtracting correctly, borrowing if you need to, but you just bring your decimal straight down. So I need to borrow right away. Okay, 16 minus 7 is 9. So I got to borrow again. This is a 1 now, so 2, make that 11. 11 minus 5 is 6. Okay, 2 minus 1, as you notice I brought my decimal straight down. 2 minus 1 is 1, and then 1 minus 0 is that, so 1169. Okay, so you're just still doing the borrowing. The only difference is you line up your decimals. So another example is 12.2 minus 5.78. Now here's an example of when you go to line this up, it's going to be 12.2 minus 5.78. The number is going to go past the end of the top number. And in addition, I said you could put a 0 there if you need to see it, but it really doesn't have to be there to add. But to subtract, you do have to put that there so that you know what you're borrowing and what you need to put there. So I put the 0 to line that up, and then when I go to subtract, borrow there, make that a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. I have to borrow again, make that an 11. 11 minus 7 is 4. And then borrow again, and 11 minus 5 is 6. This was a 0. The decimal came straight down, so it's 6.42. Okay? Let's keep going with that. Let's do a couple more examples. Okay, if you need to pause and look through that, you can. But let's put up 16, so a whole number minus a decimal. Okay, so just like in addition, we talked about the decimals at the very end of the whole number. Well, it's the same thing with subtraction. So I'm going to write this here, and I'm going to put a decimal so that I know this one lines up here. Okay, so I lined up the decimals where they go. 3.96, the decimal's at the end of that. Now I need 2 zeros there so that I can do my subtraction. That's how I lined it up, okay? Now remember, when you borrow, you go to borrow for this one. 0 can't subtract 6, so you borrow from this one, but there's nothing there, so that you got to go to borrow this one. This one became a 9 then, and this one became a 10. And if you're still stuck on that, keep going back to the prior video and practice that. Okay, 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 9 is 0. Bring your decimal straight down. 5 minus 3, and 1 straight down. Okay, so it's nothing different than subtraction. You're just putting decimals in there. Okay, let's look at another whole number minus a decimal, but this time you're going to do 15 minus 0.38. Okay, so this one has a whole number, decimals here. This one, the decimal starts at the beginning of it. But you still line up the decimals. You're going to put your zeros here to see what you're subtracting, and now it becomes where you borrow. You get all the way to the 10. Okay, 10 minus 8 is 2. 9 minus 3 is 6. 4 minus 0, 1 minus 0. So if you're thinking about what that means, now remember, you can still, just like you did to practice or to check your work on the other subtraction, you can add that to that and get 15. So you could go over and add 14.62 plus 0.38, and you should get 15. So like $15 minus 38 cents comes to $14.62. Okay, one more practice is I want to do 7 minus 0.037. So we got a whole number minus a really long decimal. Okay, but the decimal is still at the end of the whole number. This one goes here. Okay, lined up the decimals. You need some zeros to fill in that gap. Okay, and so now you're ready to subtract. And you need to borrow, 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 go all the way here to borrow. These become 9s because remember they get the 10 for a second, but then they pass it on. 10 for a second, pass on. This one gets the full 10. Okay, 10 minus 7 is 3. 9 minus 3 is 6. That's a 6. 9 minus 0 is 9. And then your 6 comes down. Your decimal came down, your 6 came down. So 6.963. Okay? So those are some practice ones that you can look through to just, it's the same as the subtraction. It's nothing new, but you are having to line them up correctly. Now your assignment, okay, so some just practice that you're going to upload. So for my night class, you're going to load the 2 video, watch both videos, and do the subtraction and the subtraction of decimals. For the day classes, you're getting them one at a time. So here's this, 15 points. And I'm going to write them side by side so that you line them up. Okay. 3.2 minus 1.78. 15 minus 2.87. 9 minus 0.75. So that's 9, a whole 9 minus 0.75. And 6, a whole 6 minus 0.058. Okay, that's an 8. 0.058. Okay, so I'm going to leave that up there for a second. I want you to do these for just this short assignment. And